Okay. Oh God. Okay, that's fine. I'll activate this sometime later. So let me tell you about the the start and end stage. So every process has a start stage, and it can have multiple end stage also. You know that, right? So let's consider a single end stage for now for simplicity, and all the operation that we are taking an action, we are doing some calculation, and all of that stuff that we are doing. So this process, and in the future that we are going to discuss about the Object Studio also, they should be able to take inputs to them from outer system or outer process or outer object, and they should also be able to pass the output back to someone else, right? So what is the starting point of a process? Start state, right? This is the starting point of a process. So if a process is trying to take an input, where should it consume the input? It should consume the input from the start stage only. So if this is the process 1, P1, and if this is the process P2. So when P1 is trying to send some data to P2, so if P1 is, for example, sending input, so it should always receive in the start stage, right? So because this is the starting of your application. And if P2 after execution is producing a value, for example, output, and this output is again is necessary for P1. Whatever it process here, it is necessary by P1 again. So from where the value should pass out, because all of these are intermediary stage. The only stage where the value should go out is the end stage. This is start stage is the one where a process receives the input, and end stage is the one where a process sends the output to the outer network. Okay, this is where it is input in, and N is the output. So here the data will flow out. So if P1 is expecting some result from P2, then this is where we need to configure in the end stage, and then again we can use the same whatever variable that you have used in the end stage, the same variable we can use in the process 1 again. Okay. So start is for receiving any input, and is for sending any output. So let's see in this scenario, for example.
Hi, Prince Sagar just joined.
Hey Sagar, hi.
Sorry, there was some connection issue at my end due to heavy rain and all sort of things.
Okay. Where are you from, Sagar? From
Pune.
Pune, right? It's raining heavily there?
It's absolutely.
Yeah, because I knew about that in Mumbai. It's raining a lot, so obviously in Pune it will be raining. Yeah. So actually we discussed about Gmail credential manager, how to encrypt data in Gmail. So you can go through the video, and we have also covered about passing data between the process. So we are just reiterating over what we just did. So you can just view whatever I'm going to explain now. Otherwise, can let me know after watching the video. You can ask me any questions. Okay.
Sure. So are we going to topic at the moment?
I'm going to reiterate over what I just did in between, when I passed data between process 1 and process 2. Okay. So what we are discussing is we are passing data between two processes, process 1 and process 2. So basically, in process 1, what we did is process 1 is expected to receive some input from some other process, and it is again expected to pass some output back to the other process. So receiving an input, as I said, will be done in the start stage. So in the start stage, we have configured that input 1, the name, you should note this name, the name is input 1. So let me save this name. So input 1, we are going to receive in some other process. Whatever we receive, we are going to store it in number 1. So we already have number 1 here. Okay. And so this is going to be saved in number 1. And we already have, a number 2 here. Number 2 equal to 25. The value is 25. We already have it here in the process 1. So this is process 1. And we are receiving the input 1, storing it in number 1. Then in the calculation addition, I'm adding number 1 plus number 2 and storing that in output. Again, in the end stage, I am that output, whatever I am getting in the addition operation, I am sending it through the name result. So name equal to result, and result will contain output. And what output will contain? Output will contain your number 1 plus number 2. Right? Number 1 plus number 2 we are doing here, storing it in output, and output we are storing it in result. And result we are passing it to the outside process. So let me just close it and let's go to that outside process that we are talking about, which is process 2 in our case. So this is process 2, and here we are trying to use the process 1. So how to use a particular process? To use any other process inside a process, you have to drag and drop a process like this. I already have used this. So I'll just, I've already done that. So I'll just use this process, process demo. And in this, I have to, mention which process I am going to consume. So I'm going to use process 1. Okay. Whenever I whenever I selected process 1, automatically in the input 1 will come. So what is input 1? This is the input 1, which is we have configured. You remember we have noted it down. Input 1, this is the name. Input 1 will be automatically come here, and in the output, the result will automatically come here. So result is something which is here. This also we have configured in the end state. This is the end state we have configured, and this we have configured in the start state. So whenever you are using the process, it will come in input and this will come in output. Same way, it is coming in input and this is coming in output. So whatever output that will come in the process, which is this output, and this will be stored in result. This result is coming from the other process, process 1. We need to store it in the process 2 somewhere. So I'm storing it in the final output, right? And again, once I get the final output, I'm doing some operation here. Final output into 2 equal to final output. So now if I run it, one at a time, I'm running it one at a time. Okay, process demo. Running it again, it becomes 60. How it becomes 60? How final output becomes 60? It's like this. So in the process demo, I'm sending 35 here in the input 1. So input 1 becomes 35. So here number 1 is storing input 1. So number 1 becomes 35. And now 35 plus 25, number 1 plus number 2 becomes 60, and which is output, and 60 is getting stored in result, and 60 is getting stored in result. So result again we are storing in final output here. So final output is containing 60 here. You got the point now? How this value is getting created? Arun, Jitu, all of you got understood this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay then. So okay, let me just reset it. Okay. So now that we are done with this, now we are done with the process. There are 1 or 2 stages are left. But for example, the exception handling we have not talked about. Then alerts is something that we have not talked about. We'll talk about all of this later, but all the most important ones are completed. So you can go ahead and if you want to do something, then you can start practicing. So yesterday I guess Jitu, you were asking about how can we reuse a process. So this is how you can reuse a process if you want to. So if it is possible, you can create a process and pass some input and output if you want to, and drag and drop and start using the process under another process. Okay?
Yeah. I have a doubt, Prem.
Yeah?
Sagar, yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah, Sagar?
Yesterday I was just practicing a couple of scenarios where we were adding the date. Add a date to an existing one. Add days to an existing. Remember that we did an exercise.
Hmm?
I was just problem. I don't know why, because it was calculating the correct information, even though I was getting 0 errors. If you can just clear the doubt, that's it's a very simple
Okay.
one. I mean,
So
it hardly takes 2 minutes of time.
yeah.
What I did is I just
Okay.
took a start and end stage, and then I took
Okay. So okay. The first thing, let me create a new date here. For example, data 1 or new date. So what you are trying to do? Add this.
add days. Now what do you one thing? Just copy that earlier this date in quotes, actually 21/02/2005, the one which is given in the function details.
Okay. So
Yeah, just copy.
let's this one here.
Yeah, just copy that.
Wait. Okay.
And add
I'm
say,
adding
7 days.
3 days. 7 days.
Yeah.
Okay, and let's store it in data 1, for example, okay? Because data 1 is a data type. So ideally it should be how much? 28/02/2005.
That's correct. But we haven't taken a data item, right? We have taken it. Okay.
Yeah, I've taken. It's coming.
I am not able to get it actually. Why? I don't know.
I think because you should be able. So are you putting a double quotes around here?
Yes, absolutely.
Everything is same.
Yes.
Then I'm not sure if you should face any issue, because this is what is expected. And
Because if I click on evaluate selection, it gives me some error message.
What is the error? Can you tell me the
error? If you can just hold on, I'll just check it. It validates properly. Yeah. I don't know what exactly wrong I'm. If you go to the data item, I've just checked the. If you go to data item, not the. Can you just open it? Data item. Yeah, data type as data as well. I don't know.
Okay. Then you must be doing some mistake. Otherwise, it should not be like this. Or if you are putting the correct date format, like date DDMMYYYY, and okay. Anyway, because I won't be able to. I'm not sure about what problem you're facing, so you can just ping me the screenshot in WhatsApp, or we can discuss about it. Okay.
Okay. I just opened it.
Okay. So in the meantime, you can let me know about the error.
Yes.
And okay, so you can check it. I'm continuing with this training.
Sure,
you can let me know if you find something. So, okay, one more thing we need to discuss before going to the VBO or something else is the debugging technique. So, we saw, I showed you something like there is another computer which got created called my computer _ debug, right? So, let's discuss how debug works, what is debug actually, and what is the importance of debugging. So, I hope everyone understood the passing information between the process. So I'll find if I can think about some assignments on this, and I'll provide you this. But I have provided a little bit complex assignment, I would say, regarding the Excel sheet. It's not easy. So I would suggest you spend some time in the previous 2 assignments that I have mentioned. So. And again, you can go through this video and ask in the group whatever questions you are facing. Okay, and in that group, in that WhatsApp group, that is not only for asking question. If any one of you know the answer, you should actively, if you see the question, then you should try to help others also. And then that way it increases all of our knowledge. Okay. So we'll talk about the debug mode today. So what is a debug mode? So there are times where we won't know what the error is. We won't know what is the error in the program. So, for example, if you go to Excel sheet, for example, here, okay, someone has put some loud music. Okay. So here, for example, if there are zero errors, and you are trying to run this, and sometimes suddenly in between somewhere you are getting an error. So how do you know where exactly the error is? So let's say you are getting an error in get worksheet as collection. Okay, but initially there was zero error, but suddenly you are getting any error, and the error is not simple. For example, so for example, whatever the error is, so let's say if you are taking it from apart from sheet 1, it will immediately show you an error. But there will be some error, and this is something you will face while working in a real-time environment. By working with this, demos and examples, you may not face such kind of error, but you will surely face some errors in your workflow where you will not know where exactly the error is coming from. So because these modules get worksheet as collection, whatever we are using here, these are again one page in the VBO. This is a VBO, and this is one page in the MS Excel VBO. So this MS Excel VBO, it may be generating an error. So you won't be having any chance that you get to understand how that error happened. So to understand the errors and to correct the errors, we'll be using the debugging techniques where we'll be exactly finding out where exactly is the error, how it is produced, and everything. Okay, so let's see this. So for this, let's again go to the that process that we have discussed, process 1 and process 2, so that you'll be able to understand the process 1 and process 2 again. So in here, I am going to explain the debugging techniques using this example only. Okay. So we ran over the process demo, but actually, were you be able to see this, what actually happened behind the scene? Just that process demo executed, but we could not see what happened behind the scene. Okay. So if we step in, it will go to the, okay, let me just do it from the scratch. So if we want to, who just joined or something? Okay. So if you want to understand how exactly this is working, how exactly this page is working, because this process demo internally calling process 1, but we could not see the execution of process 1 visually, right? It just executed, and we got a final output of 60. We could not know what happened behind the scene. So to understand what happens inside, just 1 second, guys. I'm getting some loud noise here. I'll just close the this one. Okay. So we'll see how internally everything happens. Obviously we got the output, but we could not know what happens. And Arun and Jitu, you guys were asking, actually what happened in process 1. So if you debug over this, you'll be completely able to understand what happens. And most probably this is not to see what happens. Basically, the main objective of debug mode will be to debug any kind of error, to correct any kind of if there is any runtime error. If you are executing something and you are facing any error and you don't know where the error is from, that time this will be useful. So there are 3 steps in debugging. One is step, or this is called step in also, step in or step, and another is step over, and another is step out. Okay, these are the main components of debugging. And again, there are a few of the stuffs like breakpoint and flags and all of that. So we'll come to what the breakpoint is, but let's first talk about these three: step in, step over, and step out. So if I do a step over, so when I run this system, see, when I run this, it executes one by one. Okay, but I don't have the control, it just runs like that. What if I want to spend a lot of time here or here to check what exactly is going on? So in that case, I can do a step over. So what a step over will do? It will execute one step at a time under your control. Okay, it is not the running speed of the Blue Prism or something like that. It is it will execute one stage at a time under your speed, whatever you want. So for example, step over. So from the start, it came to process demo. Until the next time, if I click step over, it will, be here only. So when it is important, when you are running a very complex system and you have, for example, 100 stages here. Here you have under 5 stages. So if you have 100 stages, then you don't know, how the flow is working. You may have to stop in between somewhere to check how the intermediate data is getting generated, and a lot of stuff are there. So in those scenarios, debugging will be really useful. So again, step over, it will come here. So the final output becomes 60 because we already done this. Now step over, and it will come here. So step over is, in an overview kind of way, whatever you see, one stage at a time. If you want to, run, then step over will be useful. Now let's discuss this. The second one is the step over. Let's talk about the first one, step in. So if I do a step in, it came to process demo. Now if I do step, this is step, okay, this is step in Blue Prism, but you can call it step in also. If I click it again, what it will do, whatever is there inside this, what we are using, process 1. This is process 2, we are using process 1. So it will go to process 1 and execute there. So let's step in. Now see, it came to process 1. And now we can see visually everything that is happening behind the scene. Now step in here. You see number 1 is equal to 35 came here automatically. From where it is coming? From the process 2 only. You got my point. Now if I step in again, output became 60. And this output will again propagate it back to the process 2. Now step in again. Now see, output propagated to here in the final output. And it became 60. Now if I click upon change output, and if I step in now, the output will become 120, because in the change output we are calculating final output into 2 and storing it back in the same data item. So step in again, it become 120. So if you use step in, you will be able to understand what is happening behind the scene. So this will help you understand if there is any error. So let me reset it. If, for example, you are not sure, one second. Okay, so if you are not sure what exactly, if for example there is an error in process 1 itself and you are not sure about the error, that case you can do step in, go deeper inside and check what exactly is the error. And again, if process 1, inside process 1, suppose process 1 calls process 3, then it will go inside process 3 also. Till the deepest level it will go, and you can do a debugging through step in mode. Did you understand the step in? Because it's something very important. And it's very powerful. You can do a very good stuff with step in. Okay, step out is coming out of the loop. So for example, we are doing step in here, and we are going step in again, and it went inside this. Again step in, and it started executing. Now I don't want this to be completed. So for example, this is a longer one, and I don't want this to be completed. I understood what is happening. I was just trying to check if 35 is coming or not. 35 is coming. I don't care about how is the output or something. So I can directly close it here, but that will destroy the chain of operation of the debugging. So what I can do, I can step out. If I do a step out, it will come out of the process. If I step out from here, it will just end the process. You understood? So step in will be to go deeper inside whatever all the dependency they have. Step over is one stage at a time, one by one, and step out is just exiting the process. You see here, if I click a step out from here directly, it executes everything and ends it. It doesn't go one by one also. So that is first step out. Any doubts here in this three mode of debugging?
No.
Okay. So try to use this at home. If these three modes of debugging, it may be, it will be useful for finding out any errors or something like that, and you'll be able to do it.
I sent you the screenshots there on your WhatsApp.
Can you go over this? Yeah, sure. I'll check that. Step over. Yeah, sure. So step over will, do one at a time, but it will not go deeper inside, or it will not directly, complete execution. It will one at a time. Step over, and step over. One stage at a time, under your control. Okay. I guess you are not, okay. It looks good. Can you send me the expression? Can you, I'm not able to see that. You have some error in the expression, so that is the error. Add base function requires two arguments of type date and number. So some error in the description, or maybe we'll check after.
Okay.
Okay, so this is what the debugging is. So again, what is the breakpoint? So let me take you, I need a long, it is a very short example with 4 stages. So let me tell you what a breakpoint is by going through our Excel sheet example. So let's open up the Excel sheet example here, and let me tell you what a breakpoint is. So for example, here what was happening, we were populating the employee, the employee collection by doing it here. Okay. So what if I want to see how the employee collection is getting populated, and later I want to execute this? So what I will do, how will I stop here? How will I stop my process here? Okay, so for that point, we'll be creating something called as breakpoint, and it is also part of the debugging, so it is other usage also, but you can use it for debugging also. So if you apply a breakpoint here, I want to see, how the employee collection is getting populated from the Excel sheet, right? So for that, there is no need to execute everything. I should not go and execute everything just to see what is, what data is getting populated in my, employee collection. I should be able to stop anywhere I want. So if I stop here, so right click and click on breakpoint. See, right click. If you click right click and breakpoint, it will make it red, and it's a breakpoint. So it will break it here. The program will not execute after this point. Like it will not execute this stage also. It will execute till this stage. So breakpoint is where it stops. It does not execute that. Okay. So now if I run this, you see here, the breakpoint reached, a breakpoint was reached. So the breakpoint reached here, and I am able to see my employee collection. All the 4 value got, term 1, and all the value got, populated. Here I can check whatever I want. Okay, this is the value and these are the column name. Then I can maybe go ahead and, do some changes here based on the value of, my employee collection, employee.salary or something I can do. So this is how breakpoint will be used. You can again, put multiple breakpoints in a program, and they will execute successfully. Okay, and when you press the go button, it will start from the first breakpoint. Okay, the second breakpoint reached. Now the second breakpoint reached. Again, if you run this, the loop will continue, and the breakpoint will reach. So this is how you can use the breakpoints to see what is happening, at a phase-wise manner. What is happening in this part of the program, what is happening in this part of the program, and you can check some intermediary value that's getting populated. Currently row 2 is getting populated. Now I know that row 3 will be populated if I run it. See here, row 3. Is there any error in the row 3? No. Now let's populate row 4. Is there any error? That will check like that. So something like this, the breakpoints and the debugging techniques you can use. Again, breakpoints is not limited to debugging technique, debugging methods. You can apply breakpoint to check any intermediary value and all of that stuff. Okay, clear about the breakpoints? What is a breakpoint? And here you can, see the breakpoint. There is this view breakpoint, right? This red flag. If you click this, you can see all the breakpoints. So it is saying in the main page, you have two breakpoints. One at loop start, one at loop end. So loop start and loop end. So from here, I can see all my breakpoints. Clear? Any doubts in the breakpoints or debugging methods? Let me know. Okay. Okay, now that we are done with this, I'm going to remove the breakpoint. So how to remove? Right click and click on the breakpoint. So if you uncheck the breakpoint will remove by itself. Okay. Okay, so we are kind of done with the Process Studio. There are few of the stages like exception and all, but that we'll see in a little bit complex application because we'll discuss about it later. Maybe in the next weekend we'll talk about exception handling. Okay, so we can talk about the Object Studio now. Till now we have discussed about the process, and I think I have discussed most part of the Process Studio, how to use collection, loops, Excel sheet operations, email, automatically sending email, a lot of stuff we have seen. Now we'll see about the objects, how we can create object by ourselves. So previously we were using something called as MS Excel VBO. And this is a visual business object that we were using. 1 minute, guys. So this VBO, we have imported this VBO. So this VBO is created by someone, right? This VBO is basically created by the Blue Prism company only. So in the object, we'll see how we'll be creating such VBO. Obviously, we are not going to create at such an advanced level. We are going to make it very simple to solve, problems that we face, whatever problems you face in the industry to basically automate any kind of application. But again, we'll see how these kind of objects are created. So you see here all this, whatever we have used. For example, we used create instance. You remember we used a create instance. So see, the create instance is a page here. So all of these are one page, single page here, and create instance is also a page here. And all of these pages are one action in the Process Studio. So this is something which is present in the Object Studio. So all these pages are one action in the Object Studio. So if you go to the Object Studio, to the Process Studio, these are one action. So basically we were selecting the MS Excel VBO business object, and in the action we were selecting one of the pages. So we are going to do Okay. Yeah. I'll cover it around. Okay, no problem. So what I was telling is that how the Object Studio runs. So the MS Excel VBO that we have imported the MS Excel VBO, right? So when you import the VBO by going to File and Import, that comes under Object. So the MS Excel VBO is showing under Object because it's an object only. It's a Visual Business Object. So in the object part, we are going to see how to create, a new object here and how to use the object in the Process Studio. Because as you can see here, the whole concept of MS Excel VBO is how we are using it in the Process Studio by dragging and dropping an action stick, right? So if you go here, we have a lot of pages. These are called page, P-A-G-E page, okay? And we have been using a lot of this page called create instance, then we'll be having open workbook, save workbook, then open workbook, get worksheet as collection, everything we have here, okay? So all of these pages we are using in the Process Studio as action. That is something which I was, explaining about. So in the Process Studio, this we are selecting the object and we are using those pages as one action. So at the end of the day, what we are going to do is we are going to create multiple pages for our own application. For example, I am automating a desktop Oracle application, on-premise Oracle desktop application, or a SAP application which is running on my Windows machine. So to automate that, I'll be connecting to the third-party application through my Object Studio. So similarly, as Microsoft Excel is a third-party application, any other application like Oracle, SAP, or Citrix, those are my third-party application. So I'll be using the object to connect to the third-party application, and I'll be creating multiple pages, something like this, okay? I'll be creating multiple pages. For example, connect to Oracle system, then it may be, login, click the login button in Oracle system, get all the rows in the system, do this and that. Whenever I created all the pages and set, the functionality in all the pages, then I can go ahead and start using that in my Process Studio. So whatever page I create, all of the pages will become one action here. Then I can, click on one of the action and I can start using that. Okay. So this is something that we are going to do in the Object Studio. That is the whole purpose of Object Studio. So how it is different from Process? Not visually. We have discussed this in the first class. There are few stages in the Object Studio that are extra compared to Process Studio. So write, read, navigation, code, and wait stage. These are present in the Object Studio, which are not in the Process Studio. But apart from that, functionality-wise, how it is different? Object Studio will be using to connect to third-party application, like whatever, all the desktop application, all the web application, Java and mainframe application. So for example, say any kind of Windows application. And once we connected to the Windows application, then we'll be creating multiple pages, each page defining one creating okay? So for example, one page is telling that, connect here, one page is telling go to this page, one page is telling, create a new instance and something like that. Once we are done with creating pages, we will publish all the pages to be available in the Process Studio. And then in the Process Studio, we'll use an action stage to use those, whatever we create. Okay, so this is just the basic. So let's get it working. Let's see how exactly those happen. So again, apart from these stages, all these stages that you see in the Process Studio, these are present in the same stages are present in the Object Studio. But apart from that, there are 5 more stages. Those are read, write, then navigate, then code, and wait stage. These are the 5 stages that are present in the Object Studio, which is extra. These are not present in the Process Studio. So this is a very fundamental question. Someone may ask you at a basic level, what are the stages which are not present in the Process Studio but are there in the Object Studio? So this will be your answer. Okay. So let me close all of this. And let me go back, go to the object. So I have minimized the process, and we'll talk about the object now. So I'm going to create a new object called, let's see, here I'll be showing you, I'll be automating one of the application. So let's say, let's automate a Windows application. Windows. Okay, I have created this object. So the way to create is the same: right click, create, then double click, it will open up. And whatever I was telling you about the, about the number of stages, like read, write, navigate, code, and wait. These are the extra. Again, this block is something also we have not discussed about. We'll talk about this when this is something we can use this in exception handling. So we'll see block, exception, recover, resume, all of this, resume, all of this we'll see in the exception handling part. Just understand now that these are the extra stages: read, write, navigate, code, and wait stage. These are the extra stages that are present in the Object Studio. So what else is extra? What else do you see here extra? There's something, these pages, right? We in the Process Studio we had a single page only, and the name of the page was main page. However, here we have 3 pages: initialize, cleanup, and action. Okay. So 1 minute. So action, these are pages, okay? All of these are one page. So in action 1, we can obviously, rename it to, main page or something, or based on, we'll come to this. I'm just telling you that you can rename all this page. We'll rename it based on the business requirement. So action 1 is where we'll be creating our, we'll be implementing our actual business logic. So, for example, let's write some data. Then, for example, let's make some calculation, and based on choice stage we do something. Okay. So all of this, for example, we are doing in the action 1. So what is initialize and clean up? Because this is just a connection. We're not doing anything here. Okay, initialize and clean up. So what does it has to do with the action state? So what initialize will, before your main page executes, before the execution of the main page and after it's get loaded. So when you are clicking on this button, what is happening? This is started executing, right? So before the execution, it is first getting loaded into the memory, and that it is executing. So before it gets loaded, and after it gets loaded, and before the execution, the initialize page will run, and the cleanup page will run once it is done executing. So initialize will run before the execution of this, and after loading of this page, after loading of this all this chain of events, and cleanup will run once it is finished executing. So again, we are not going to use initialize and cleanup much in our activities, because this is something, if you are writing a lot of code, then it is something you can use. So for example, you can read this dialog box. It's a nice explanation of what initialize page is, and it's an explanation of what cleanup page does. Okay, so you can go ahead and read this out whenever you open up this Object Studio in your Blue Prism environment. So if you want to run any prerequisite data, for example, before you run this, you want to open some ports. So open the ports or initialize some variables is something you can do in the initialize phase. So if you double click this, the information box, you have this condition information, then global code. We'll talk about what these 3 modes are: foreground, background, exclusive, because you'll get at least one question in the certification exam. So what are the different run modes? If you have time, you can just go through this, what they do. But again, we'll talk about this later. What are the different run mode and what are the importance? foreground, background, exclusive. These are the different run modes. You will get one question from in the certification exam, the Blue Prism certification. So if I am running some global code here, for example, if I am declaring some variable here, name, for example, is something. I am declaring a name here and declaring some variable and writing some global code here. So whatever code I write here, so basically this is code level. So that is the reason I don't want to focus much here. And whatever you write here, everything will be executed before your action run. So if by chance, there is something, there is some stage which is referring to few of the variables in the code stage, it should be able to do. So just understand, initialize is something which runs before your main page runs and after the main page is loaded. And cleanup is basic cleanup activity. So once it is completed, if you want to release few ports or close some connection, you can do that in cleanup. Again, normally no one cares about what happens in initialize and cleanup. They directly go here. If you have gained a lot of experience in Blue Prism, that time only you can go ahead and configure the coding here. You can write some code here. Again, this code is something which is not available in cleanup. See, only pre-condition and post-condition. You can write some condition here. So cleanup is basically we don't do anything. Cleanup is something normally taken care by Blue Prism only for some cleanup activity by itself. However, in initialize, you can go ahead and write some code by yourself. And again, this is the same stuff in the action, whatever you want to do here. Okay. Okay, so these are the first set of differences, the number of stage that you have and the different pages that you have. Also, the second major difference, I would say, and the fundamental of the whole object concept is through application modeler. So application modeler is something which is not present in the Process Studio, and this is the main differentiator between the process and the object. Why? Because this is the main engine that runs the Object Studio, right? This is where you connect to all the third-party applications. So just let me show you. Click on application modeler. Either you can, provide a new name for the, apart from the application name. Normally, I choose to leave it as the same as the name of the object. Go to next. You see here all kinds of automation I can do. Windows automation, Java automation, browser-based mainframe. So we are going to discuss about all of this one by one. But again, Java and mainframe, we are going to talk very less about this because these are very less used in the industry, the mainframe and Java-based application. I'm not talking about Java as a backend language. Java is the most widely, one of the most widely used language in the web application. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about Java as a standalone application, Java-based application. So, so we'll talk about this. How Java is used. Again, Java has a lot of usage, right? One is to make the backend of the website. So, for example, Amazon.com backend is most of the modules are written in Java. Okay, so I'm not talking about those kind of applications. They will come under your web application because they are a browser. Amazon.com is a browser-based application. I'm talking about the standalone application. So if you go to Domino's or KFC or somewhere, you'll get the TV screen, right? Kind of, it will be showing you or Vodafone store where it will be showing you the ticket number 138, 139, and all of that stuff. So those kind of minimal kind of application are written in Java. Okay, I'm not sure what they are getting written now, but previously, they were being written in Java. So I'm talking about those kind of desktop application written in Java. Okay, so we'll talk about this. And again, mainframe, how we automate IBM mainframes and all. But as I said, this will be very less because these are very less used in the industry. We'll talk more about Windows and browser-based automation. But again, all of the ways to automate this is going to remain same. Only thing is the configuration is different. Your logic, your drag and drop set of tools, and your everything is going to same. So it doesn't matter what we discuss. If we are discussing any one in a depth manner and we are covering the configuration of everything, it should be fine. But again, we are going to talk in detail about Windows and browser-based automation, and Java and mainframe is the list of automation is going to be minimum in Java and mainframe. Okay, so this is what the application modeler will do. You can configure what kind of application you want to automate, Windows-based or browser-based or whatever you want to automate. Okay, so this is where the main engine runs. Here we'll be configuring everything. We'll see details about that, maybe in the next class. Because I thought of showing you getting started with the Windows application, but like I think we won't get much time today, and we have to leave it half the way. So better we'll start in the next class only about the Windows automation. And next two sessions maybe we'll cover about Windows automation. Then we'll migrate towards few of the then we may go towards web-based application. Then there are a lot of concepts like exception, work queue, environment locking. They are very advanced concepts. We'll cover up those in the subsequent classes. Okay. So this is the plan that I have in mind. So I don't want to, explain the Windows automation today. So we can stop it here, this class. You can let me know if you have any question, and we can start with the Windows automation from the next class. So any doubts, any specific, any general doubt, if you can let me know now.
Can we get the FAQs for the certification exams?
Okay. Okay, so for the certification exam, what you have to do is first, I request all of you to create an account in portal.blueprism.com. If you have not, then go ahead and create it immediately, because this is important. Portal.blueprism.com. Let me just ping it to the group also here. This is the site. So you go and sign up here. You click here and sign up here. You have to register, and you have to provide whatever it asks for, and provide this and create a new account. Once you create a new account, you should be able to log in into it. I'm not sure if it is immediate or it takes some time, but you'll be able to. Okay, I almost forgot. Okay, once you log in, this is the Blue Prism portal. Okay, and it has a lot of learning modules. You can go ahead and look into that. So why this is important for the certification? Because without creating an account in Blue Prism portal, you will not be able to appear for the certification. Okay, so once you create here, how the certification will work is we can talk about the different certification. Let's go to accreditation here, and here there are different certification. Blue Prism developer exam, technical exam, then ROM architect, a lot of exams are there. So the first exam that you guys can appear, the fundamental exam, and we are going to cover everything in this training about that, is the developer exam. Okay, so let me click on that, Blue Prism developer accreditation. And Blue Prism, this is all official Blue Prism documents. Okay, it has, so you will get 60 multiple choice question in the exam, and 60 minutes of exam, 60 multiple question. Pass mark is 70%, pass with merit is 80%, pass with distinction is 90%. So they have different level of pass mark, but again 70% is the pass percentage. Okay, 60 questions, 60 marks. And so what questions you will get, that is here. The scope is here. Okay, so detailed understanding of Blue Prism function. That is why I was telling you about go through the function, about the date add function, date, format date, make date, now, today, the different date function. We'll talk about this. This is something we have not discussed. We'll talk it later when discussing work key. Then again, text function, concatenate, end, suite, meet. So see, this is Blue Prism company is telling you that these are the type of questions you'll get. These are the exact questions you'll get. Data types, different data types, number, password, flag, everything, all the data type related to question. Debugging. We talked about debugging today, stepping in, stepping out, or breakpoint, what happens when exception, something like that. So all of this we have already discussed. Okay. So there will be again, rest of the steps we'll discuss in the upcoming classes. But as you can see here, we have made some good amount of progress in terms of what questions you'll face in the first examination. So it's better to don't keep it till the end, because at the end you will not get much time. I'm also going to upload one PDF to the Google Drive, and you can refer to that PDF. That PDF contains all information about the Blue Prism tool and about the AD01 exam. This examination code is called AD01, and I'll upload a PDF to this, and you'll get all the questions from that PDF only. But it is again covers everything in the Blue Prism tool. It is around 150 or 170 or 180 pages PDF. And you can go through that. A lot of images, basically less reading material, so you should be able to cover that up very fast. But whatever we have been discussing in the class, just concentrate on that and do some homework. You should be able to clear the interview. Okay, this is the Blue Prism AD01. To attend the next exam, which is the next level of exam, is the Professional Developer, Blue Prism Accreditation Professional Developer, and between these two exams, there was a 6 months gap. I'm not sure what is the rule now. If you sit on the developer exam and clear it, you have to wait for 6 months to appear and clear the professional developer exam. Okay, so you have sufficient time for professional developer exam, and we are going to cover up most of the part in the professional developer exam also, like exception handling, work queue, developer best practice, surface automation, Java, mainframe. We are going to, talk about everything. Okay, credential manager. In fact, we talk about credential manager today only. Securing an application with services, login agent. We'll talk about everything. So basically, this training that you are taking from me, will cover all the syllabus of developer exam and professional developer exam also. Okay, but the only thing is that there is a 6 months cool-up period between these two. So plan for developer, and you can later plan, go and appear for professional developer. So where do you appear for the certification? You have to go to an examination center, and that examination of Blue Prism is taken care by Pearson VUE. So basically, don't panic much about the certification now, because we have mostly covered about 20% or 30% of the syllabus. So plan it after the course is finished, maybe after 2 weeks or something like that, after it is finished. You can create a new account in Pearson VUE, pearsonvue.co.uk, and you can create a new account. And you have to purchase a voucher from here. The voucher will cost you $65 US. That is around around 4,500 rupees. And after that, you have to select the exam, AD01, for example, the first one. Then select all the tests and all the exam here, whatever you want. So basically, I have not logged in, so I need to log in. And you can find the test center here, wherever you are from. So if you are from Bangalore or Delhi or Gurgaon, and then you can type your location and search, and it will give you a list of Pearson VUE center. You can go to any of this center. First, I would suggest you have to call these people and go and schedule an examination and go and appear for the 1-hour exam. So this is, you have to be physically present to appear the certification exam in one of the center. It is also present in all major, everywhere it is present. I guess I have mistyped it or something.
Can you type
okay,
Pune?
So Pune is there at 4 or 5 locations, so you can go and, so it's basically present everywhere. Okay, so they are a test conducting partner. They are basically, their job is to conduct tests for different organizations like Oracle certification, Blue Prism, SAP. They conduct they are partner with everyone, so they have test center everywhere. So again, At the end of the session, you can go through all this. I can even send you the list, this link and all. You can check and schedule your examination. Okay. So this is the process about examination. Complete the, again, there are a few of the other stuff like, that is something I'll explain later when we have a special class for certification only. When we finish the course, we'll discuss, 2-3 hours only about certification. Okay. So don't worry about certification. We'll talk a lot about certification. Just that it's not, it's very early to talk about that. Just concentrate on the content that we are covering currently. Okay. Any doubts? So again, after around, once you create an account in Blue Prism portal, it takes around 48 hours, to register into the Pearson VUE portal, because this Pearson VUE and Blue Prism are related, something like that. So plan accordingly and create accounts. Okay, so I'll upload all the today's video to the Google Drive. Kolkata. Okay, so you'll basically get it. So in Kolkata you'll be. So you have around 4 or 5 centers in Kolkata. I'm not much sure about the, So these are where it is there. Okay, so basically it's there. Okay, it's there everywhere. So I'll upload today's video to the Excel sheet, and I request that you go through the assignment that whatever I have provided. The first, not this one. There is assignment. This. Okay, this is the assignment. 7th July. No, this is I have. I'll just rename it. So this is the assignment. You can try to cover assignment 1 at least, because assignment 2 is a little bit complex and there are a lot of stuff where which we have not covered, and that is that I have mentioned in assignment 2. But you should try this. It will open up a lot of possibility, and you'll be able to understand a lot of stuff when you fail to solve this. You learn a lot of things by yourself. So try to complete both assignment 1 and 2, and we'll talk about the solution in the next class, and we'll discuss from the Windows automation. Okay. So that.
Can you spare 5 minutes if you don't mind after this session?
Yeah, sure. So.
Hello.
Sagar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, sure. I will fail to evaluate expression. Okay.
Or can I share the screen right away from this portal? I don't know whether I can share my screen.
Yeah, you can share your screen. Let me provide you the admin access, not the admin access. What do you say? The presenter access. I'm making you the presenter, sheet presenter, and you can share your screen. I am stopping my screen.
It says download instructions or just run it. Okay.
Okay. Let me stop. So let me connect to the this one. What do you say that the other software is there, right?
TeamViewer.
TeamViewer. Okay, I'm just stopping this recording because this is something I'll upload to YouTube. So I'm just stopping.